Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a subject that literally shapes the world around us every single day: public policy and public administration. Whether you're just a curious citizen trying to figure out how the government actually works, or a student staring down a totally overwhelming syllabus, this explainer is going to structure everything for you beautifully. We're taking these massive, complex theories of governance and breaking them down so clearly that you just won't forget them.
So, Thomas R. Dye famously defined public policy as whatever governments choose to do or not to do. Actually, think about the weight of that statement for a second. It means government action, like say building a new highway or funding healthcare, is a policy. But government inaction, choosing not to regulate a specific industry or not funding a program, that's equally a policy. The stakes are massive here. Everything your government touches or explicitly refuses to touch falls right under this umbrella.
Okay, real quick before we get into the heavy lifting, I need to talk directly to all the students and civil service aspirants tuning in. The entire structure for today's explainer comes straight out of a really incredible ebook guide, Public Policy and Public Administration. If you're prepping for UPSC, state PSCs, or your university exams, listen to me. This PDF is your ultimate survival guide. Exams test your memory recall, right? Well, this book is specifically designed to build exactly that. It completely replaces those dense, boring textbook chapters with crisp, short notes, Q&A formats, mind maps, and revision charts that actually make the concept stick. It's going to save you so much time and directly improve your score. The download link is right down in the description, and I've also pinned it in the comments. Go grab this PDF ebook right now. Seriously, you'll thank me later.
All right, let's look at our roadmap for today. 1. Decoding public policy. 2. The policy-making process. 3. Pillars of public administration. 4. Theories of organization. And 5. The Indian constitutional context.
Jumping right into Section 1, Decoding Public Policy, Nature and Objectives.
So, what is the true nature of government action? Well, public policy isn't just abstract paperwork. It's a highly dynamic problem-solving mechanism. It's goal-oriented and future-oriented, meaning it's literally designed to achieve public welfare and anticipate tomorrow's headaches. It's authoritative because, obviously, it carries the legal backing of the government. And crucially, it has to be dynamic and flexible. As circumstances change, think about sudden economic shifts or climate change, the policies just have to adapt.
Let's make this real. Take rural unemployment. The government's targeted, goal-oriented course of action to solve that massive problem is MGNRGA, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. It perfectly encapsulates policy acting as a direct intervention to secure social welfare and economic justice on the ground.
Moving right along to Section 2, the policy-making process, from problem to result.
We know what a policy is, so how does it come to life? There's actually a pretty neat 5-step life cycle here. First, problem identification, recognizing an issue like unemployment. Second, policy formulation, where we prep alternatives and solutions. Third, policy adoption. This is when the government, like Parliament, actually stamps it into law. Fourth, policy implementation, where administrative agencies step in to execute it. And finally, Step 5, policy evaluation. Did the policy actually succeed or fail? The source ebook lays this exact sequence out perfectly for quick recall. Got an exam? Just memorize these 5 sequential steps and you're golden.
Now notice how Step 4 there was implementation. That bridges us perfectly into Section 3, Pillars of Public Administration, the execution of law.
We're moving from the what of policy to the how. Woodrow Wilson hit the nail on the head when he called administration the detailed and systematic execution of public law. Making a law in a grand parliamentary building is one thing, right? But systematically executing it so that a farmer in a remote village actually gets their employment benefits, that is a completely different beast. That execution is public administration.
I absolutely love this next part. To define the massive scope of this administration, Luther Gulick gave us this incredible mnemonic POSDCORB. It stands for planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, and budgeting. This is the exact kind of brilliant memory trick you'll find packed into the PDF guide. Instead of trying to memorize some giant paragraph, you just remember POSDCORB, and boom, you can write an entire essay on administrative scope.
Okay, on to Section 4, Theories of Organization, Structuring Efficiency.
Because to execute all that planning and budgeting, you need serious structure. Let's do a rapid-fire review of the heavy hitters. First up, Frederick Winslow Taylor and his scientific management theory.
Taylor essentially treated organizations like machines. He was all about applying rigorous scientific methods to the work. The key takeaways for Taylor are efficiency, standardization, and productivity. He wanted to find the single, scientifically best way to perform a task to minimize waste.
Now, contrast that with Max Weber's bureaucratic theory. Weber prioritized absolute hierarchy, strict division of labor, written rules, and impersonality. It's highly predictable and stable, which is great, but the demerits are pretty obvious: red tape, delay, and extreme rigidity. It's literally the classic model for civil service.
But then Elton Mayo completely flips the script with his human relations theory. Based on the famous Hawthorne studies, Mayo proved you can't just treat workers like standardized cogs in a machine. We're social beings. Informal groups matter, communication is essential, and basic human motivation often spikes efficiency way more than strict rules do. It's a beautifully human-centered approach.
So, speaking of structure, here's a massive, high-yield exam topic: centralization versus decentralization. With centralization, power sits at the top. Decisions are slow, flexibility is low, and local participation is basically zero. Decentralization flips all of that. Power moves down, decisions happen faster, there's way more flexibility, and local participation goes through the roof. I love how the source material simplifies this complex debate into such a clear, instant recall comparison.
And finally, Section 5, the Indian Constitutional Context, Framework in Action.
Let's bring all these global theories directly home to India. The Constitution structurally connects major administrative bodies to exact articles. The Finance Commission, under Article 280, distributes taxes. The UPSC, under Articles 315 to 323, recruits civil servants. The Election Commission, under Article 324, conducts elections. Having a structured chart like this means you are never going to mix up your articles during a test.
Remember that concept of decentralization we just talked about? Well, in India, that was put into massive concrete practice in 1992 with the 73rd and 74th Amendments. The 73rd introduced Panchayati Raj for rural areas, and the 74th brought in urban local bodies. This wasn't just some minor policy shift, it was a constitutional mandate for democratic decentralization.
Okay, before we wrap up, I've got to give you one more powerful memory hack from the ebook. If you're asked about the impact of globalization on public administration, just remember the word TIGER. T for technology, I for international cooperation, G for good governance, E for efficiency, and R for responsive administration. With just that one word, you have 5 robust points to build an entire essay around. It's kind of like a cheat code for studying. So, here's my final question for you today. Is your current study strategy actually equipped with the right tools for absolute memory recall? Are you still just dragging a highlighter over endless boring paragraphs? Or are you using smart charts, mnemonics like POSDCORB and TIGER, and clear conceptual breakdowns? If you really want to master public policy and administration efficiently, the key is literally waiting for you. Go click that download link in the description or the pinned comment to get the ultimate PDF ebook guide we featured today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.